The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Well, welcome to Getting to Know You. My name is Joe Nash. Today we're talking to Eric Paul. He's the owner and proprietor of the Cheese Traveler up on Delaware Avenue in Albany. So welcome, Eric.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to be talking about specialty cheese, specialty foods, and I think I got this word right, but I'm not sure. It's charcuterie. How do you say that word?
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
It's the French word for cured meats.
Cured meats, okay, like salami, stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we often say that the Italian word is salumi,
Okay.
and you often say that all salami is salumi, but not all salumi is salami.
Okay. It sounds like an old Evan Costello bit there.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so before we started, you were telling me you started selling some cheese at a farmer's market. And now you have this store up in Delaware Avenue. You're doing since 2012. So tell me how you got started and your interest in how this got going.
Well, I've been in the cheese business for a while, on and off, dating back to 1999. But I started the Cheese Traveler here in Albany by selling local cheeses made within about 50 to 100 miles at the Del Mar Farmers Market.
Okay.
So we bring 10 to 20 cheeses a week there, and cut them all to order and sample them and sell them at the Del Mar Farmers Market. This past year we were a little bit at the Crossings Farmers Market too. We did the season there.
So then what happened? You just decided, was there a...
And the general idea was to sort of test and build a market and a customer base, and then open up a retail shop.
Okay.
To have like a real sort of European-style cut-to-order cheese shop.
So when you were at the farmers markets, did you get a lot of regulars? Did people say,
Yes.
hey, you should have a store?
Yes, yeah, we have, and some of those customers still come to the shop now, which is sort of fun.
All right, so you've been there since 2012?
September of 2012.
Okay. Now you have, you were telling me before we started, how many kinds of cheese you have? Cow, goat, and sheep milk cheese, but how many kinds would you say you have?
We have about 100 cheeses regularly, and then right now for the holidays we'll jump up to about 125, 130 cheeses.
Now, what is it? There's a lot of specialty stores these days. What is it about cheese, do you think, that makes it have its own store as opposed to many
cheese
other...
is the largest category in specialty foods.
Really?
Yep.
I would have more than coffee? Or...
Yes.
Okay.
The largest category in specialty foods, and one of the growing categories, but it's the most it's the largest category in specialty foods.
Huh. And do you any reason? Can you think of why that might be? Or I mean, everyone loves cheese. But.
Yes, yeah. I think that's. I think that cheese sort of it tastes great. It captures the imagination from small cheesemakers in remote areas, both of the U.S. to European traditions that are hundreds of years old, and I've not seen too much as to why it's the largest category in specialty foods, but it has been for some time. People love cheese.
So now the cheeses in your store, you have cheese from all over the world, but you have some locals too. What do you see?
We do. We curate a selection where we try to have sort of cheeses of every style and every milk. So we sort of curate a style much like, say, a French cheese shop would curate it, where you have different styles of cheese. So if somebody were to come in and want to put together a platter or a spread, we could pick cheeses from each category.
Okay.
And in that style, we have local cheeses.
Okay.
About 40% of our cheeses are made regionally: Vermont, New York, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
And we tend to focus on small producers. Even our European cheeses, we source from people who are called affineurs, who have relationships with small producers and who select the cheeses and ripen the cheeses to their specifications.
Now, when you say styles, you can put together different styles. Do you mean like regular cheese, goat cheese, or do you mean like a different hardness? So, I mean, what do you mean by style?
Well, styles of cheese or types of cheese, there's eight styles with sort of subcategories. There are fresh cheeses, which are like your chèvres or your things like that. There are what are known as pasta filata cheeses or stretched curd cheeses, mozzarellas, provolones, caciocavallos, things like that. There's what are called soft ripened cheeses, which are which usually have a bloomy mold on the rind, like bries and camemberts. And they ripen from the outside in. So they're soft cheeses. So you have textures: soft, soft, semi-firm, hard, things like that. Then you have styles, which are after soft ripened. You have these little natural rind cheeses, like goat's milk cheeses, like small format natural rind. Then you have soft pressed. Then you have uncooked pressed curd cheeses, then you have cooked pressed curd cheeses, then you have blue cheeses, then you have washed rind cheeses.
I didn't know there was.
So those are the different styles of cheeses, and all cheeses sort of fall into those, with a few additional things done throughout the cheese making process that can sort of be subcategories, if you will.
Can all kinds be made from cow's milk, goat's milk, and sheep milk?
Generally, yes.
Okay.
There are fewer goat's milk, say, blue cheeses than other styles of blue cheeses, but that has to do with, sort of this acidity level and fat composition of the milk. So it's just not generally made.
But on your store on Delaware Avenue, there's no cheese made there, is there?
We do not make any cheese.
But you bring it all
there, but we bring them in.
Okay.
And we have generally all the milks: goat, sheep, cow, and sometimes water buffalo.
Oh, okay. So what are some of the most popular cheeses there at the Cheese Traveler?
Most popular cheeses are triple crèmes. So those are like bries that are higher in butterfat. And cheddars. Those are our most popular cheeses. Parmigiano Reggiano, real Parmigiano, and cheeses that are most commonly requested cheeses are brie, smoked Gouda, and cheddar, sharp cheddar.
Okay. So when I notice here it's on the webpage, it's cheesetraveler.com, there's tons of information. All purchases, it says all purchases are cut to order, or is that, you don't have
Generally, yes.
I mean,
the only cheese we pre-cut is Parmigiano Reggiano.
Okay, but
because you have to have the real way to cut Parmigiano is actually you don't cut it. You use a set of 5 knives to split and crack the wheels.
Oh, okay.
So to do that sort of to order is a little.
But for all the regular cheeses you just mentioned, it's all cut to order and priced by the pound. It says here by expert cheesemongers, and you would call yourself a cheesemonger.
Yes. So a cheesemonger is somebody who sells cheese.
All right. So you've been there since 2012. Besides selling cheese, you have. Tell me some of the other products you have, the specialty foods and some of the meats.
Yes. So we have a full selection of cured meats, which are like your cured hams, your prosciutto de Parma, your speck, which is like a smoked cured ham from the northern part of Italy, and Alto Adige. We have the jamon serrano, which are your Spanish cured hams, your jamon iberico, which are your cured hams that are like from wild boar. Okay. We have the salamis, we have pâtés, we have larder meats like cured bacon, lamb bacon, and guanciale and pancetta.
So you were saying about what, half your business is cheese, half is the other products? Is that more or less?
Yeah, so we probably have about half of it is cheese, about 10 to 15% of prepared foods. So we do grilled cheese, gourmet grilled cheese,
Yeah, okay.
soups, coffee, things like that. We do about close to 10%, 5 to 10% being cured meats or charcuterie, and then we do about 10% being local organic meats. I work with a farm that was a sort of partner and original investor of mine called Tilldale Farm. They're out in Hoosick, New York, and they raise organic, grass-fed, heritage breed beef and pork, and also organic chicken. So we have organic meats. We get fish from a local fishmonger, Finn. So that's about 10%.
Why do you think these kind of stores are becoming more popular these days? With the people eating healthier or want better quality, or what do you
Yeah, I think it's both. I think people, one, want quality. I think two, people are more interested in cooking foods, cooking flavorful foods, and with that comes cooking traditional food.
Yeah.
So that's sort of our sort of specialty, is to find cheeses, any ingredient that's traditional. So we're looking for traditional condiments, or say chutneys or mustardas, or we're looking for traditional cheeses. We're looking for traditional cured meats, for mustards and sea salts.
Oh, okay.
Traditional pastas that are drawn through bronze dyes and air dried over 72 hours, and traditional olive oils and vinegars, where they're estate grown and hand picked and very flavorful. May not be used to cook with, but used to finish. To add to a soup for finishing, or to make a vinaigrette easily.
Now, this must be one of the most popular things about your store. It says here, all cheeses can be tasted first. How much?
Absolutely. Anybody can taste any cheese, and we encourage it. We often say that you should demand to taste your cheese from your cheesemonger. That's part of what we try to do. And I worked at a cheese shop in Boston, and we were trained to open any cheese up, even if it wasn't opened, and sample it. Give people a chance to come to learn about a cheese that they don't know anything about, which is very common. I'd say about 90% of customers maybe more, have never had more than 5 of the cheeses that we carry in the shop.
I mean, they never had more than 5 kinds of cheese, like their whole life, you mean? Or more?
Maybe not 5. Yeah. 5 of what, when you walk into the shop, you have a counter with 100 cheeses and signs all facing you, and it's pretty common that people have not seen most of them.
Do most people take a little sample before they buy? Okay.
Yes.
So do you cut it for them, or do you have them out on little trays? Or?
We have a little bit of, sometimes we'll have a few samples out, but we like to cut it to order, because if you have them out and they're sitting there, they sort of oxidize and dry out and give off oils, and so they're not really, it's a sample sitting out on a bowl or a plate is not always in the best shape or always representative of the cheese. So we love to, if we're going to cut a wedge off for you, just cut a little pairing and let you taste it.
Well, I noticed the last couple of years, there's been a lot of articles about you guys in Metroland, 518 Life, WAMC, the Times Union, Hudson Valley Magazine. Besides what we've just been talking about, the store and selling, you have a little, it's not really a restaurant, but you can sit there and you have tell us about your little menu. You have sandwiches and coffee and...
Yes, so we have we make gourmet grilled cheese. We have a sort of standard menu that we always make, but and some special cheese options. We do cheese and charcuterie plates, so you can enjoy a cheese plate there of a sample of Monger's Choice, 3 cheeses or something like that. We make soups fresh in-house. We source coffee from a micro roaster down in Brooklyn called Toby's Estate Coffee, where they have relationships with different coffee producers around the globe, and we roast that up on a nice, a good coffee maker at the shop, and then we homebrew some iced tea, and we can have beer and wine and cider.
Oh, so you can have you can have some wine with the cheese. Well, that's the perfect pairing there.
Yes. You can have a glass of wine while you shop.
Oh, okay. Geez, I'm gonna have to come over there.
It's a very leisure.
So you have the coffee from, where was it, Brooklyn?
Yes.
Now, and I noticed on your menu here, your bread is from Hudson, New York. Is that what kind of?
Yes.
Is this a famous bakery?
Yeah, there's a bakery down in Hudson called Bonfiglio and Bread, and we get bread from them. We use it on our sandwiches. We get it twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays.
All the wide variety of.
Wide varieties, generally baguettes, ciabatta, sandwich loaf. We get a great cinnamon loaf that makes the best French toast you'll ever have. No raisins, which are, raisins are divisive.
Yeah, okay.
People love them or hate them. And we get some sourdough loaves from them too.
Okay.
And they are very, people love them. They've been written up in Bon Appetit and Grub Street and Hudson Valley Magazine themselves, and they do a great job.
So you started like 3 years ago. So what would you say? How's business is good? Has it been growing over the 3 years?
Business is growing and good. When we opened, we were sort of definitely the only specialty food game in town, and the market changed a little bit in the first year with Whole Foods opening and Honest Way Food Co-op expanding into a new space and things like that. And that was good for us, actually. It helped us to focus and really identify what we're doing and be clearer about it and sort of identify a unique product set. We try to generally have products that aren't really out there.
Well, do you have, not that we really want to talk about your competitors, but do you have more cheeses than some of the places you just mentioned?
We have comparable amounts of cheese, but we also handle it in a way. To cut it to order is sort of
the whole
special because, first of all, cheese isn't really meant to be pre-cut and wrapped in plastic. The plastic leaches into the cheese.
Oh, okay.
And so it's not only the chemicals leach into the cheese, but the flavor leaches into the cheese. So to cut it to order means that you're getting something fresh.
And what do you wrap it in, like paper? Or?
Cheese paper, cheese paper.
Cheese paper,
So it's a sort of like a paper on one side, sort of like a poly on the other side. So that doesn't. What it is that the plastic that clings leaches into any animal fat, whether it's meats or cheeses. So you want to sort of avoid that. So that I feel that's what really sets us apart. We're trying to always have cheese go out there that's tasting as good as it can, tasting as the cheesemaker intends it. And certainly a cheesemaker doesn't intend a cheese to taste like plastic.
So I noticed beside the cheese, specialty food, you have a little menu with sandwich and stuff. You also do some catering. I don't know what you can say about that. What do you have, like cheese platters and?
Generally, cheese platters is a majority of our catering. We have been known to also do like lunches to go, sort of grab, grilled cheese, soup, and bag of chips lunch. So we've done that for some offices. But generally, it's cheese platters, cheese and charcuterie platters.
And then when you if someone wanted to choose 50 different kinds, could they, or is there different?
Generally, the rule is to sort of max out at about 5 different cheeses.
You wouldn't want. I don't know. You wouldn't want.
Because once you get past 5, it just becomes sort of overwhelming and too many different flavors.
So people can choose, or you can recommend what 5 might go.
Yeah. Generally, we start the conversation by how adventurous do you want to be, and generally the answer is, well, we're adventurous. We're not sure about our guests. Let's do 1 out of the 4 or 2 out of the 4 being adventurous, and let's have a great cheddar and a bloomy, rind cheese, like a brie or triple crème style that are crowd pleasers, and the rest we'll have some fun with. That's generally what we do.
So it'll be on the screen here. It's thecheesetraveler.com. Now I noticed, not in the winter, but once the April, May, once the good weather comes around, you have a thing called Friday night cookouts. What's
Yes.
that all about?
So what we do is in the warm weather, generally May through the end of September, we operate a pop-up restaurant on Friday nights.
Right at the
Right at the store, we have a little. We put out a barrel grill and we put up a tent and we put out some tables where we seat like 15 or so
Oh, okay.
outside and another say 8 or 10 parties inside. And we do dinner service. And we grill up
You're saying your regular menu, more or less, or special?
well, that's available, but we have sort of a little bit less so. We have we grill up burgers using the Tildo Farm ground beef, and we often will do 1 or 2 Tildo Farm burgers. We'll sometimes do lamb burgers, which we get from a local farm out in Schoharie County, and then maybe one other meat protein or maybe fish, and then we'll do usually a vegetarian entree made from halloumi, which is a Greek or Cypriot cheese that you grill. You actually grill it, and so we'll make a little vegetarian entree with that, and then we'll do some salads and cheese plates and things like that. So we tend to focus a little bit less on the grilled cheese, but that's sort of because we're busy doing these other menu items.
So that's
and
is that it's every Friday, more or less?
Every Friday.
And how has that been received?
It's been very successful.
Really, is it do you need reservations? You just show up.
We don't really take reservations, but it does fill up.
Really? Okay.
It's a fun event, like sort of.
It sounds very fun. When I read your website, I'm like, I gotta go to one of those.
Yeah, there's a sort of, we leave that like the last Friday in September. We leave that menu up on the website just so people could sort of see like what the menu looks like. And it's a fun event.
Oh, it sounds like fun. Yeah, sure. And now, one other thing you guys have going on there. I don't know if it's all year round. Maybe you could explain it. But you have classes. What kind of classes do you have?
We do. We've sort of gone a little dormant for now as we've sort of had transitioning, as we've now transitioned into the holidays, and as we sort of grow to get a little bit bigger, as I bring more staff on, we'll add them more. But it's sort of, enthusiast classes, so people who want to learn more about cheese and customers come into the shop and we try to give them as much information and sort of guide them through the process. Or as cheesemongers, we're the guide through this world of cheese. But if you want to have like a little bit more relaxed and have a little bit more time, or have a hang out with a friend and eat some cheese and learn a little bit more about it.
So it sounds like they're sort of a little informal classes.
They're informal, and then we also do what we call these guided tastings, where we'll do like 4 or 5 courses of a cheese with a specific beverage. Cheese with cider, cheese with beer, cheese with wine, and here's 4 courses with accompaniments and bread, and you can come hang out, and we'll guide you through what we've those courses and over the course of about a 2-hour period.
It looks like there's a lot going on there. I'm trying to think, because I know where your store is, but how big is that store for all this?
It's about 950 square feet.
Okay.
So a little under 1,000 square feet.
All right.
So it's a good little size.
Okay.
It's not huge, but it's big enough.
So have you built up a regular clientele, I guess you could say? Or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as your own cheesemongering goes, I love that word. Do you ever go yourself around the world or anywhere to investigate cheeses? Or?
Yeah, I love to go, and before we opened the shop, I'd worked at a cheese shop in Boston called Formaggio Kitchen, but I also had tried to go and visit as many cheese shops as I could, whether it was starting years back, I'd gone to like Murray's in New York City and visited some other shops like Bedford Cheese, which was once named by a famous cheesemonger in England as the best cheese shop in America. a man by the name of Jason Hines of Neal's Yard Dairy. Neal's Yard Dairy is considered probably the most important cheese shop in England. It sort of is credited with preserving farmhouse cheese making in England.
Okay.
So, we tried to visit as many shops as we could to see just what they do and how they do it. The Bruno Brothers in Philadelphia, and every shop has their own little, and regional influences too of what they carry. And we do, at least annually make it down to New York City or make it to wherever the American Cheese Society conference is.
Okay.
This year it was in Providence. Year before that was in Sacramento. A year before that was Madison, Wisconsin. Next year it'll be in Des Moines, Idaho.
Okay.
Des Moines, Iowa, sorry.
Okay.
And I have a friend who has a cheese shop in Des Moines. So
you went from
excited to go
working.
see him.
What really made you so interested in cheese, though?
What made me so interested in cheese is that I found out that each cheese has like a story and a tradition and a history and a culture.
Okay.
And that sort of captivated my imagination. And as I, often would, every time I tasted a new cheese, I would learn something new about
not just about cheese, but about the culture of
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Why Spanish cheeses are primarily goat and sheep's milk cheeses. Well, because it's an arid climate and they don't really have pasture land there conducive to feeding cows, or why southern Italy tended to salt their cheeses as a way of preserving a perishable milk. Milk is a perishable food, and so it's just interesting to learn that every place sort of modified, whether it was the cheese making process or the process of preserving what was in essence a perishable food, milk, into something that was more durable and lasting as a food source, and had such variation in flavor and taste and everything. So I became fascinated by that.
So every cheese has a story. Well, this has been good. I'm going to come to your store. So Eric, it's called The Cheese Traveler. There's a lot of good information on the webpage, thecheesetraveler.com. They have food there, cheese, they have catering, they have wine and beer, and you can try everything. Oh, and you can get gift certificates there too, and gift baskets. I forgot that. So thanks for coming, Eric.
Yes, thank you. Fun. We have great tasting cheese and fun cheesemongers.
And fun cheesemongers. I love that word. All right, so we'll see you next time on Getting to Know You.
Thank you for having me.